luxury industry expert, Mr. Lawrence Lenihan, who is an adjunct professor at NYU Stern School of Business and co-founder and co-chief executive officer of Resonance. Mr. Lenihan will be speaking to us on the topic of fashion and the luxury industry in the next 10 years. Lawrence. Thank you
again. I've known Elsa for, can everybody hear me? I've known Elsa for a number of years now. And I happen to know, I'm pretty sure at least, that she thinks I'm a complete pain in the ass. And so when I asked her, how should I be today? She said, just be yourself. So here's what you're going to get. I apologize in advance. All right. Here we are. I'm a former venture capitalist. I founded a firm called Firstmark. We'll talk about our portfolio in a second. I say former, but I really kind of think it's future. I think venture capital is broken. And I think the model that we're putting forward, my partner Joe Farrar and I'm a technology marketing guy. I've been in retail my entire career. I've started up companies in this industry. Joe was a production guy, probably the smartest guy I've ever met in this industry. And coming together, we offer two very, very complementary sides. And you'll see kind of how this fits in our philosophy of what we're trying to do. I'm chairman of a luxury brand, Norsol Ferrari. We'll talk about what the future of luxury is for something that's really, really specific. And one of the biggest problems I think luxury will have, and I'll talk about that there. Is Tom Patterson still here? Tommy John? He left. I get him. Good. I'll talk about him. I happen to be wearing purple Tommy Johns instead of Joe's yellow. But this is one of the most interesting companies that you probably don't know. It's a luxury. It's changed luxury men's underwear. The fact that I'm up here talking about underwear, men don't talk about their underwear. Now you have, men put on underwear and say, oh my God, this is the most comfortable thing I've ever worn. Yes, I mean, the average woman says, you're an idiot. You lived your whole life without being comfortable in your underwear. We're like, yes. Tom is changing that. What's also important about Tom, I'm going to talk about the portfolio. Tom is probably the most successful e-commerce, I hate that word, company that's out there. There's not a company that I've seen everyone. It's grown faster, it's more profitable, yes, the word profitability in an e-commerce company, and is executed perfectly. They've done it, they've raised $1 million. Gives you an idea. I cannot tell you how large it is, but it's a lot larger than you think. And this is the future of how these brands are going to start coming together. We've done a lot of infrastructure. Big believer in technology as infrastructure. Shopify is we were seed investors of Shopify. Pinterest was where we caught lightning in a bottle. Started out as an e-commerce play. Actually, interestingly, kind of morphing back into an e-commerce play. This is all opinion, but there's a difference. We're putting money behind this. We're putting our reputations behind this. So in 10 years, when I come back here and say, all my predictions were true, you can say, oh, bravo, or I won't be back here, and you'll see me out front with a cup of coffee looking for dollar bills. Everything's going to change. This is not specific just to luxury and fashion. This is, every industry out there. This is my presentation in a summary. And we'll talk about a lot of these, but it's going to change significantly. I think it's going to have an impact on all of your businesses. Certainly it's going to have an impact on the businesses in which we invest. We talked about luxury lots of different times today. An inessential, desirable item that is expensive or difficult to obtain. Or better, I have it, you don't. Does anybody know what that is? Stars Upon Mars. Sneetches, Dr. Seuss. The greatest book of luxury you will ever see. The essence of luxury is I have it, you don't. If I have it, you have it, she has it, he has it, it ain't luxury. I'm sorry, if you see it on a subway, it's not luxury. Do I sound like an asshole? Yes, but that's luxury. So we have this concept of oxymoronic luxury. An oxymoron obviously is an apparent contradiction, like clean dirt or Donald Trump president. Mass luxury, affordable luxury, accessible luxury. Luxury is not accessible. Luxury is not for the masses. It's hard. How do you grow? Oh, you got problems. Is this bad? Well, no. By the way, I'm sorry for my graphics. They somehow got a little messed up here. If you're honest with yourself, yeah, you're really kind of pretending to sell luxury. Tory Burch selling luxury. I'm sorry if there's anybody from Tory Burch here. But if you're pretending to sell luxury, it's great. Yeah, I'm a luxury brand. If you're in a luxury market, yeah, I think it's hard, and you're pretending that you can just grow. Luxury is about value. The future is about value. Millennials are about value. Somebody said, earlier, the gentleman from Van Cleef spoke about millennials not being a market. I think whenever we can't explain something, we say, oh, it must be the millennials, like, Vikings with the wind god when their sails were not filled. Millennials are as different as every other segment that you have here. I think one thing that is maybe you can make a cross brush that is different is that they're online much more savvy, and therefore they're going to be smarter, and they're going to look for value. Here are the determinants. I don't need to read what they are. But luxury is a value purchase. It really is a value purchase. And if you're not providing luxury, I think you're going to be in big trouble, because your brand loyalty is dependent on that. You cannot put a crappy product out there and hope that you are building, that you can pretend to have people see luxury. Our luxury brand, Norisol Ferrari, our linings cost more than most of your primary fabrics. Do our customers know? Oh, I feel it. Certainly, the customer that can feel it is the customer we want. No, they're not going to buy Tory Burch. They're looking for something unique. They're looking for something special. We offer the best value out there. And I think this is going to be something that's really, really going to be impacting your businesses as you go forward. By the way, you want proof of this? High-low. Chanel jacket with Zara tights, leggings, right? Why? You know why? Because your leggings weren't value enough. Just because you have your name on it doesn't matter. How do you provide something that's different? How does it fit? How does it last? How does it make you feel? Well, if it doesn't, I'm going to go buy a Zara. I'm smart. I am a math geek. This is my graph of creators. By the way, you saw from our hashtag where we thought the answer about creators, our hashtag for residents. By the way, we haven't announced residents yet. We will probably in the fall sometime. We've got a lot of things going on with brands, and we're building a factory. We're doing a lot of different things that we'll speak about in about 6 months. But we believe in creators, and this is my favorite math function. It's a discontinuous function. Discontinuous function is a function where you need to lift your pencil to draw the graph. Think of any other complicated function you can do. You can just continue to just move your pencil around, and every single point is a continuation of the prior point. In a discontinuous function, it's something amazing, new, random, exciting, different. It's the essence of creativity. And that's what luxury is about. Luxury is about creation. It's not a trend. Data, we talked about data. Yeah, data are interesting. We use tons and tons and tons of data. But just a continuation of everything that you're seeing in the market or hearing in the market isn't what luxury is all about. We have a firm view. Business exists for the creators, not vice versa. And because it really starts, everybody in this room in the luxury industry probably appreciate this more than anyone. These heritage brands, your heritage brands are about a creator that was innovative, that did something amazing. We own a brand called Crouch & Fitzgerald. We're going to be relaunching. Started in 1839. Founder of this was the true American. Wasn't born here. Came from nothing. Had a factory with 200 people. Had 20 patents. You think about the heritage of your brands. They're creator-driven, and we're going to see it continue. The creators creators create heritage, and the creators of today will be the heritage of tomorrow. Business-driven, marketing, data, accountant, lawyer, sorry, Francois, I apologize. Growth at all costs, creator-driven, talent, vision, experience. Energy. Talk about stores. I'm sorry, I had to step out for an appointment, but I didn't hear about the physical space. Stores are energy points. What is the energy you bring? How do you bring that energy in? In the end, the creator isn't a widget in business. This is really, it's going to sound like, oh, you're just mincing words. No, it's really how you architect your business. Business is a widget in creation, and how business exists to be able to amplify that creator's vision, that connection that creator has with the customer, and then multiply those connections. That's what business is. If you're not doing one of those two things, amplifying or multiplying, stop. Brand is a connection. It's not your ad campaign. It's gone. Those days are over. You're not going to have, you can't have a celebrity in front of the Eiffel Tower and say, oh, look at how wonderful our product is. People are smarter. There's more information. They're going to look hard. It's not the celebrity of the day. It's not your $50 million flagship. It's your relationship with your customer. You start with an amazing advantage. You have an enormous relationship with your customer, but it's at risk. A relationship is bidirectional. I listen, hopefully more than I even speak. It's product. It's experience. It respects a customer's intelligence. Just because you live in China doesn't mean you can't get on the internet and see that you're charging me more. It's loyalty. I'm loyal to you if you're loyal to me. You respect me. I think this is your biggest issue that you have to face, and it's the biggest opportunity that we have at Resonance. In the future, the world is about specific. If it's specific, it means it's smaller. What are you going to do? Luxury is inherently unscalable. If it's about I have it and you don't, how do you scale that? How do you build your brand? You can see more math graphs. This is your problem, is that when you try, by definition, market subsegments are smaller than market segments. As a brand tries to broaden its reach away and you try to mean more to more people. Truth is, you mean less to everyone. What's going to happen is somebody's going to come underneath you and be very, very specific. You think about every single market there and how you subsegment that. I can have more in common with you. The more I have in common with you, the less I have in common with everybody else in the room. Yes, we can start with we're air-breathing humans. But then we work down. Oh, you have the same kindergarten teacher. Wow, what a bond. Think about the energy in that relationship. Think about the same hobbies. Think about those things. That specificity drives the essence of customer relationship. And without that, you're going to have somebody who's going to come underneath you and mean much, much more. By the way, going back to Norrisol Ferrari, our brand is for the woman who's had everything, and she wants something that's unique. Our biggest problem is that our woman wants to walk in the room and be the only woman wearing that product. Therefore, reference sales are tough to come by. In fact, we had one customer fly up from Colombia who found it by going into her friend's closet because she wouldn't tell her. But those are the kind of things that you're going to have to fight. The Norrisol Ferraris of the world, the Crouch and Fitzgeralds of the world, the companies who are coming underneath who are going to mean something. No, that brand isn't for everybody. Maybe you think it's revolting. Maybe you think it's nothing. Doesn't matter. Somebody does. And that's what you're going to be facing. Economies of small. Definition. Capture the economic advantages of being big by companies who are small. You big conglomerates, you have an advantage. But the advantage might, quickly become a disadvantage. And this is the thing I think that's really going to affect you, is that these very specific brands are going to be small. Now, if they can start capturing the same advantages by using technology, and I don't mean just by some of the ridiculous technology things that you have here. I'm talking about infrastructure that's going to come out, connectivity, changing their supply chain that's different than how you use yours. Using data and insight, not in the creative process, but in the marketing process, to understand different places where they can have advantage and they can move more quickly. Imagine legions of mini Zaras, not in the idea of Zara as selling cheap shit, but the idea of you pick your segment, companies executing at that kind of supply chain excellence coming after you and meaning something really, really specific to part of your segments. It's death by 1,000 paper cuts. For us, Economies of scale, you measure it in percentage. Our operator, that's not an X, by the way, meaning, fill in the blank. That's a multiple sign. Multiples. That's key for us. How do you generate multiples? Small brands growing into, the brands, we're always asked for our brands, how big do you think that opportunity should be? Our answer, as big as it should be. If it's $10 million, so be it. If it's $250 million, so be it. That's the problem that you're going to see when you're more specific. You're going to be smaller. How do you architect your business to be able to take advantage of that? My number one hope and prediction for the next 10 years is that the word omnichannel disappears. The phrase omnichannel disappears. Because when you talk about omnichannel, what you're really talking about is, okay, I've got my brand store, check. I've got wholesale, check. I've got a website, check. Got social, check. Mobile, check. And I have these different relationships all the way across. The future is about commerce convergence. That's a term we use, and it's important. That's why we've outlawed, in our organization, we've outlawed e-commerce. We've outlawed omnichannel because it means something different, which is not, a seamless integration of channels. It means a seamless relationship. I am who I am no matter what I have. If I know you and I meet you in person, there's an energy to a relationship. That relationship continues when we speak on the phone. That relationship continues on email. I don't care where you buy my product. I care that you buy my product. My stores are energy points. My stores engage. My stores excite. I love to fulfill online. You don't have to come in. You already know your size. You already know how it fits. You already know how you touch. That's where commerce, that's where online fits in with luxury. Somebody made a comment about, we're trying to replicate the luxury experience. You can't. It doesn't exist. Maybe you show a film of some guy from 300 years ago, sewing saddles. So what? That's not what your customer wants. Customer wants a beautiful product delivered to them. What does it mean out of the box? How do they feel out of the box? The best out of box I've ever seen. There was a Lacroix couture gown that they had a picture of in a crate, opened up, flowing out, this most magnificent gown, and that you just imagine the emotion of that woman who purchased that gown, of how it came out. That's a luxury experience. That's online. That's where you can touch your customer. So I don't think online has to be something incredibly expensive, unless you can do something that's interesting and something that's complementary to your brand. Who cares what everybody else is doing? Yeah, it will. We don't need you, retailers. I'll tell you, a relationship built on abuse is not sustainable. You can't go to me at the end of the year and say, take back all your stuff. Sorry, we didn't sell it. That's not helping. Well, guess what happens? The retailers, and for those of you in the room, you can come up and yell at me, throw a drink in my face later. It happens because you do it to the people who you can, the small designers, the small labels who you're crushing doing this. That's a real problem. Guess what? They're going to turn around and say, no, I don't need you. Or if they do need you, they're going to say, you can't sell online. No, you cannot poach my brand and buy it from Google and take my sale. When somebody looks up Tommy John online, you fulfill it. This is key. Now, what if you're a retailer? What are you going to do? Does that mean you're out of business? I don't know. I don't think so. I think there's a big opportunity. I think if retailers can get out of the way, there's a gigantic opportunity here. The opportunity is, are you a gatekeeper? Well, great. When there was a river and you had a toll booth at the river, it's good to be a gatekeeper. When you have a toll booth and it's in the middle of the Great Salt Flats, it's not so good. People are just going to go around you. So what are you going to do? You're going to be a service provider. You're going to provide other things that you can do. There is a disconnect between value added and value taken. I think it's a huge opportunity, because think about retailers' ability to make a brand and then get rewarded for making that brand. You don't. You participate by getting a tiny amount of gross margin. On the other hand, for big brands that really don't need you and are going direct, you get all your money. Well, what does that mean? What it means is probably your business is going to become this. It's a balance sheet, not an income statement. All right, I'll generate $200 million of sales for you across the next 5 years, but you're going to give me 20% of your company. I don't care if that's an exclusive. I'm going to make money anyway. I'm going to now run my balance sheet. Now, can you do that? Are you going to be brave enough? Maybe usually these massive changes, when you do it, often only happen after a cataclysm that just makes it very difficult to do. Real sustainability arrives. I'm sorry, with all apologies to the previous panel. I agree. Actually, I agree with the panel. And I think this is a gigantic opportunity for everybody in this room. But we are in this age of plausible deniability. You know, the millennials, there's a statement made that millennials really care about sustainability. It's most important. And then they go out and buy $5 t-shirts, you know, at Zara. And shocked when they find that, you know, some kid in Bangladesh strapped to a sewing machine made it. Well, how the hell do you think you got it for $5? So this idea of plausible deniability is going to change, because you can't have sustainability without accountability and verifiability. Otherwise, it's a marketing initiative. And that's coming. And it's going to be really, really important to everybody in this room in terms of how it's implemented. But you're going to need technology to be able to do it. There are going to be mandates. There are going to be social mandates. You're right. The amount of pollution that's generated by this industry is atrocious. But it's also an opportunity. But it will be governmental, because we're going to have to. And it's a real commitment. It isn't a marketing campaign. I think we have a problem for these small brands that they're going to come. I think you look at a lot of my former colleagues. They don't understand retail. Their businesses are whiteboards off of out of Harvard, Wharton, or Stanford. Product doesn't come from here; it comes from here. So you have these soulless, heartless, cynical kind of business models that are just even stupid when you do the math. On the other hand, I think a lot of the retail backers don't understand how much this industry will be changed, how it will be changed in every single facet, and the people with the expertise are going to hold on to it, not realizing their expertise is valuable, but only in the context if they're willing to reconfigure everything they know into a different shape. Are you brave enough to realize your knowledge and your skill isn't a monolith? It's made up of thousands of pieces, and you can put them all over the floor in this room and assemble them into something greater. That's scary. But it's the people who do it are going to win. Donald Trump again. People are scared. No, it's true. Technology is moving fast. The world's moving fast. That's what you're seeing. And this industry is moving fast, and you're going to see the same scary people here to draw a parallel. I know it's scary, but it's going to have to happen. So the future? I think future corporate giants are going to embrace the shift from economies of scale to economies of small. I think you have a unique advantage. How do you do that then when you realize that success isn't going to be driven by shared overhead, by reducing combined accounting costs, by knocking your suppliers down an extra penny or two on yards of fabric. It's actually going to come from insights, capability, reach, connection, technology, knowledge, vast electronic and physical infrastructure. Can you manage hundreds of brands? Not dozens, hundreds. $2 million brands, $100 million brands. Can you do it? It's an amazing opportunity. Again, it's going to take a lot. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I know there's a gigantic opportunity out there. You're not going to be afraid to harvest brands. Maybe not harvest, maybe put them on the shelf for a while. It's like I was telling my kids about sending away for the hoping to get tickets to the Rolling Stones' final concert tour in 1981. So maybe it happens. Key metrics in the future: cost of failure. How often, how quickly can you get out and experiment and fail? You can fail for $1 launching a brand. How many brands would you launch? Probably as many as you possibly could, right? Now your cost of failure is gigantic. How can you reduce that? That is going to be the most important measure in time to failure, where you can manage that, where fast, and they're obviously directly related. multiple of invested dollars. I put $1 in, I get 1,000 out. That's a good business. I put $1 in, I get $1.03 out. Not a good business. Actually, a lot of businesses now, you $1 in and you get 37 cents out. Terrible business. Okay, my prediction. Demise of big retail. Rebirth of big retail. It's a gigantic opportunity. I mean, obviously, somebody who is a capital-driven, capitalist pig. I think I see the opportunity right now in early-stage brands. 5-7 years from now, I would love to have a gigantic pot of money and go after these collapsed retail giants who haven't changed their business and are now going to sell at pennies on the dollar of debt and refabricate them into being machines that enable customer connections of very, very specific brands. There's enormous opportunity. In fact, if I were head of Macy's, I'd be doing what we're doing at Resonance right now. I think the highest luxury is going to be dominated by niche brands. You're at risk of losing your customers, especially these younger customers coming up, because to them, heritage doesn't mean, old. Old isn't heritage. Good is heritage. And so, just telling a story doesn't matter. Telling a really interesting story that connects with the perfect product is really, really interesting. But I think you're going to make some people who beat you to the punch there. I think some of you are going to struggle. Boy, this is going to be a really uncomfortable cocktail hour, I'm sorry. But I do think you'll contract, you'll refocus, and you'll succeed. You may be billions of dollars smaller. So what do? Well, I start getting more brands, and I figure out how to use how smart I am and my resources across lots more artisans. Could you imagine, I'll keep picking on Norisol. Norisol sitting in, having access to Chanel's artisans? My God, what could happen out of that? The assets you all have are colossal. For those of you leaving, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend. Economies are small. New corporate giants are going to win. All right, random prediction, flash brands. Not flash sales, big difference. Flash brands, here today, gone tomorrow. Why not? I think you're going to see the shape. Everything's going to redefine. I hope. By the way, this now is real. Mass customization. It's going to happen. How do you address it? You want a specific, you want a connection to your customer? Don't make it a size 4. Make it a size Susie. Mass limited editions. Dynamic collaborations, these mashups that come together. You need a supply chain that act on that. You know who's amazing at this? Nike. You're going to see some really interesting things out of Nike in the next couple weeks that are going to be announced. But this idea of manufactured scarcity, where I can connect to very, very specific segments of my audience, are going to be enormous. Again, I have it, you don't. It's human nature. Sorry. And the most boring of the predictions, but I think one of the most, frankly interesting. I think we're entering the golden age of supply chain. I'm 51. I started this industry at IBM in 1987. When I joined the retail industry branch of IBM, and they were about to lose the Macy's account, and I went in and they just threw me into Macy's as a consultant. That's how I fell in love with this industry. They put me on the floor. There's nothing better than being a 22-year-old male working on the floor of Macy's for the first 3 months of your time in New York. And then we went to supply and then work in the distribution center. And it was amazing. When I walked into NRF the other day, the first booth I saw was a company called Island Pacific. I don't know, maybe some of you are customers. That was the first ERP installation I worked on. Now, how the hell in the late 80s are you going to envision a world that exists today? Well, that's your infrastructure, folks, and it's going to all change. What are you going to do about it? And with that, thank you.